everyone, we are going to take a quick look at a small game which we think is really cool. We're going to try and put these out on the regular, like maybe one a month anyway to start, and we'll see how it goes from there. So this first game, you see its itch page, is called Give Me Strength by James Poole. He calls it an interactive thought, which is kind of interesting. What's kind of cool about this to start though is that like this game it got funded from Creative Ireland, which is kind of unreal. Might be the first game, at least it's definitely the first thing on itch, I would say. It might not be the first piece of playful media, but it is probably the first game that got funded from the Creative Ireland, which is cool. James did all the art and the gameplay and the design, and the soundtrack was created by Llaura. So hopefully you can hear some of that in the footage. And it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and you can play with keyboard and mouse. So like as soon as you start the game, you can see from the menu that, you know, there is like a style to it, and just like a nice little bit of interactivity where you move around and the camera reacts to it. But the very next thing you're going to notice when the game starts is James's voice.
Hello, my name is James, and I am here to welcome you in. It is July 18, 2021, and I'm recording this, so hello from today. And I am here talking out of the red lad that's in front.
So yeah, the first thing you notice when you play it is the presentation. It's this, the beautiful music by Llaura. And then, like, you get a sense of the graphics and also just the visual design of all of this. And you know, okay, this is gonna be a cool indie experience or indie thought, as it were. The next thing you're gonna hear, like, when the game starts is James's voice, where he is talking directly to you, and like instantly there's an Irish accent, which is kind of amazing. You know, I think he's from Mayo. I think he's based in Limerick now. The other game that it reminds me of is Secrets Agent by Marina Kataka. She's like very soft spoken and it's very intimate. James is creating a very similar kind of vibe. And what's really cool is if you don't do anything at the very start of the game, like the game is like aware of that. And James is kind of like overcompensating and kind of rambling and talking as it goes. I think like the first game I saw that, or like, you know, a game that really did that, you know, well was like Stanley Parable when that came out, where, you know, to see all the content, you had to like, you know, sit there and do nothing. And it feels like really natural as well. Like, you know, it feels like, you know, he's just messing around, which kind of, again, extends that thing of like, the ungameness of it, you know, it's not very arbitrary. It's not very constructed, you know, it feels very natural. And there's an element with the game, with the thoughts and the bits and pieces, like obviously it was made in a kind of scrapbook way where he gathered thoughts and he recorded bits and pieces. But there's an element of, you know, chance to like what he recorded, you know? Basically, the way you get through the game is you go towards the blue characters. They're kind of like these thoughts which are leading you. The game is split up into different sections and it kind of has kind of flowing emotions. Once you enter part one, you start to see there's lots and lots of characters everywhere and you hear all their bits and thoughts like surrounding you. And I guess like, you know, like you could like, on one hand, all of these thoughts are James's, but also it feels very much like this is society around all of us, you know? All these people struggling with their own kind of like interiority. Another part that reminds me of is the one bit in the beginner's guide that I actually liked, where there's all these little floating orbs of thoughts. For me, in the beginner's guide, it felt like the one kind of genuine part of the game where all the like the, you know, millions of layers of irony are dropped. And it probably was made originally as a prototype, you know, before the beginner's guide became a thing and like it got submerged into the bigger game. But in the beginner's guide, yeah, there's this moment where you go around and I guess it's kind of like, you know, the lost thoughts, I guess, of a dying MMO or something like that. But you just get all these little like individual thoughts, which are, it's kind of nice as well. The animation isn't completely smooth, you know, it's not a 60 FPS. It's got like a frame step, which makes it seem just a bit more animated. So like, yeah, he's worrying, you just see these kind of like intrusive thoughts essentially that the character hears, and they're kind of like whispers. It's got great colors too, you know, it's very, very particular. And it's limited assets, you know, it's literally just one character model, you know, and I think there's also a model of stairs. But other than that, it's all around that. So it shows you what you can create with like limited number of assets, as it were. In part 2, the camera angle like switches up. I guess it's like reiterating the character being small amongst, you know, all these people. And the character's starting to worry about, you know, like, is it worth like creating art? Is it worth what they do? Because I mean, that's what's interesting. It is a very like vulnerable game. Like, he is like sharing these thoughts and stuff. And what's kind of funny is like often when you are, you know, when you write more like personal things, or you take inspiration from your real life, people think it's completely invented, you know. So on one hand, like, someone might play this game and think he invented a character who's like nervous, and you know, at the same time I think like creating, you know, a game or a story is like a means of processing that. So hopefully he's less like shy about his own work now. And then there's like the next part of making something is just like the long challenge of it. So like we're moving into part 3, or like as you move into part 3 it becomes more about like the length of time it takes to make stuff. And every time you talk to one of the blue guys, and the blue guys are what like pulls you through the experience, like they kind of multiply and like more and more start arriving.
I'm gonna need to start this over.
More of a jacket day. I wonder if it's raining. Did I just make a game? Will I get away with the jumper, or is it more of a jacket day? Did I just make a game where I talk to myself? Will I get away with the jumper, or is it more of a jacket day? Did I just make a game where I talk to myself? Will I get away with the jumper, or is it more of a jacket day? These first 3 albums. I worry what people think of me. Will I get away with the jumper? I like Coldplay's first 3 albums. Think of me.
Give me a chance. How am I supposed to do this any better?
My posture is off. I like weak tea. I've never seen Lord of the Rings. I can't cook to save my life.
Changing up like the camera angles and stuff is both like, okay, what does it mean? But it also just keeps it like visually interesting, you know? So in part 4, for example, like you are kind of like floating and swimming through the sky or the swamp, you know, we're all floating through life. But what's cool is just like it's so different. At first, like the characters are all like, you know, appearing in the thing, but then yeah, you're kind of exploring it through swimming, which is kind of neat. And like directional audio is like a thing in video games, you know, it's been around since we've had like 3D and game engines, but it's not super used like in a way that's not just like, oh, you're recreating real life, you know, there's a sound here so it makes a sound. Like I would say Proteus is an example where, you know, directional audio is used, you know, as you move through the space, like the music changes and everything. I wonder how he got that effect with the characters. Like it's like kind of like, I don't know, I don't think it's an animation. I think it's like a vertex shader or something. It's like a graphic shader that moves all the vertices or like simplifies them. It's really neat though. Our protagonist at this point is kind of just like, yeah, like they've been working on this piece of art, i.e. the game itself, you know, for so long now, and they're kind of just like losing the plot essentially. And the voices, like there's also these tall characters that are kind of imposing over the player. Like the music throughout was just rad. Like part 6 is very kidsy, where all the characters are walking in a direction. One thing I like about the parts as well is that it really makes you, you know, it makes you think about what each section like has its own kind of significance, rather than, you know, it just happening. It's like, okay, each one of these is a specific like movement or moment or thought. And so then in part 7, like you start to get more confidence with the rising staircase. Is he rising above like all the people below him? Maybe all the plebs. I don't think it's quite so much, but it's maybe what he is rising above is like not that all those people are other people, but they're all his kind of his like worst thoughts and his kind of insecurities, so he's rising above that.
Give yourself the chance to make something class. This might not be the class thing, but the next thing might be. If you don't bother, then you're not even giving yourself the chance to make something unreal. This might not be the class. Do something unreal. 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 The important bit. Do something unreal. I want to keep moving towards.
That section ends with a character coming towards him, because again, like we have this language of the blue character is what progresses you, you know, so there's like a game reason why you need a blue character at the end, but having it come from the distance and from the other is kind of cool. So part 8 is like, this is where the dancing starts. This is where you get to do, what's the Fortnite dance called? Like, I mean, there's so many, but flossing? If flossing even exists anymore. Does this have flossing? I don't know. It's just really cool because it's just like, you know, it shows you how like interactivity can be anything. And Here, it's just to be expressive, you know? Like, for me, like, what I see in this is that, like, it's kind of, like, when everything's going right and you're getting really excited about making something, and, like, it all just clicks. All your thoughts are, like, positive and excited, and, you know, it triggers other excited thoughts. And then the music shifts as well. It becomes this kind of like dancey kind of thing. I think we didn't talk enough about the music from Llaura, but it is really sick. It's really good. And so once you get your kind of dancing out, and yeah, you're ready, you go talk to the blue character, and we get the title, and it brings you back to the title screen. But now you have dancing music, and that's the end of the experience. Yeah, it's really cool. You know, I think you can read it different ways, but I think it's an interesting, like, insight into his kind of mind's eye. And I think what makes it really special is, you know, not just like the cool style and the cool art and the great music, but it is like the personal touch of having his voice kind of like narrating the experience himself. It's cool to see games like this, which are, you know, like this game, you know, you're not gonna be able to get like Sony to give you $10 million to make Give Me Strength. You know, it's a 10-minute like experience, but it's so vital and important that these games exist, you know, because it's like creation in this culture. So hopefully we can do some more little episodes like this where we talk about cool parts of a game. So congrats to James Poole and Llaura for a sweet ass game. You can see James' stuff at james.poole.ie, and if you search Give Me Strength and any of that, you'll find it on itch as well if you want to play it yourself.